Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Control Alt Delete. I hope everybody had a great week and happy Sunday. I want to start today off by wishing my son a happy birthday. Today's his 33rd birthday. So happy birthday. I love you so much. I know you know that. So I hope you had fun enjoying your day. And after I finish this, I'm going to call you again to see what you did. Okay. This week was a busy week for me. It was my daughter's dance review yesterday. So we finally wrapped up dance for the year. Hallelujah. But it was amazing. She did fantastic. All the girls did really good. If you're a dance mom, you know it's a full-time job when you have a daughter in dance. Well, I guess with any child, but when you have a daughter in dance, it's like you're in dance too. So we wrapped that up. It was phenomenal. She had a great time. She was the lead in the ballet, so it was wonderful to see. I also played a part in the ballet with her, which I was super nervous about that. So we're finished. So on to next year. So that starts back up in September. So I hope everybody had an eventful week. This week overall for me, I'm gonna say emotionally was up and down. Getting closer to the dance review, I was thinking about, obviously, of course, thinking about my mom because she was at the last dance review last year. So I did think about that. My daughter did think about that as well. So we both did struggle with that coming into this week, but we got through that. I let her know, she was with us and was watching over her and would definitely be rooting her on the whole time. So that's how that turned out. But it was pretty good overall, emotionally, I'll say, for myself anyway. So this week, I'm going to start off with another quote from Maya Angelou. So this week it's, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. So when I read this quote, I'm heavy on Maya Angelou, as you can see. This is really good because things happen to everybody on a daily basis. We all go through stuff, right? But it's how you choose to navigate and move through it. So you can refuse to be reduced by it. So no matter what it is, it does not define who you ultimately are, right? A situation doesn't mean that that's who you ultimately will come out to be, or one bad decision or circumstance does not ultimately write your story. So I felt like this was very powerful. And I think that just in life, we find ourselves in situations where you have life altering situations. And in those moments, you feel like there's no way out, or like, why me? That type of mentality, which it's just human nature to be that way. But when you're refusing to be reduced by that, like, you should never reduce yourself to something that was out of your control, or even if it wasn't out of control, just never reduce yourself. You should always hold yourself in high regard, right? Because everybody has a purpose. We were all brought here for a reason. So just never feel that you don't have purpose, because we all have a purpose and still searching. So just thought about that. Also, I started reading Job in the Bible this week. This is my first time reading about Job. I've heard a lot about Job, and I read about his first test. And I don't know if anybody else is familiar with Job, his the book of Job. But in the first book of Job, um, his first test was he was stripped from everything. Like, he was wealthy, he had 10 children, and he was just wealthy. He had cattle, he had camels, he had, he just was living a good life. And so what happened is Satan wanted to test him, and God told him, do as you will, but don't harm him, right? So he went in and just messed up his life, took everything from him, till killed his 10 children. His 10 children. And after losing his 10 children and being reduced down to nothing, like losing everything he worked so hard for, he said, he shaved his head and began to worship. He said he came from his mother's womb naked, and he will leave naked. The Lord gave him what he had, and the Lord took it away. Praise the name of the Lord. In all of this, he didn't blame God. When I was reading that, I had no idea that he had went through that. And I couldn't imagine losing all of that, everything, and then falling to my knees, still giving praise. Um, I feel like in everyday life, we're all met with challenges. And sometimes I feel like if you've lived long enough, you've gone through a season where it's been back to back to back to back. Things have happened to you. So like you were in a Job season. But in a Job season, it's like, can you still be thankful through it all? Because um, even though you've lost everything, you still have everything. And that's deep. You have to really be deeply rooted, deeply seated, um, deeply guided to know that. And this is a strong conviction. So when I read this, I really felt like um, a connection to that, because I've had seasons in my life where things kept happening and I was just praying through it, praying through it, praying through it. But then you look back like a year later and you made it through that season and you were like, dang, I didn't think I was going to make it through, but you made it through. So I guess ultimately what I'm saying is, like, to never give up. Um, Even though things may seem grim, even with grief, because some days seem like never ending, you know, um, but it's all part of our cycle. Um, but there is another side. It just takes time and it takes perseverance. And so I think with anything, you just have to have perseverance and faith. So that's what I gathered from that. So if you feel any other way, if you want to look at it and read it, I just started reading it. That's what I got out of it. Just let me know and we can revisit it together. Um, I also thought about something else reading this, just in general, dealing with life and in with people. We tend to keep receipts on people. Um, and I feel like God never keeps receipts on us. You know, um, He forgives us for everything that we do. And we tend to try to hold people hostage um, for things that they do. And I'll just say, for example, um, if you've had a bad relationship in any type of relationship, friendship, marriage, a relationship with your parents, um, and you hold on to every single thing you receive that person, right? You're like, you did this, 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 you did this. What's the purpose on holding on to receipts when it's not doing you any good, right? Um, because in the end, ultimately, I feel like everybody should be forgiven, not all things, but everybody should be, some I should be you're supposed to forgive. That's what I believe. You're supposed to forgive. Um, but I don't think you should receipt people. Like I feel like, when you go to CVS has the longest receipt like that you ever get. Like I hate getting a CVS receipt because I'm like, this is just excessive. Like I don't need this. This is just a waste. Like it's just wasteful. Um, so why go through all that? Why hold on to all that unnecessary baggage when what if God did that to us? Like he held on to everything we did. Every wrong we did. He kept a tally of it. None of us would make it. I mean, really, like if God kept a tally of every sin that we've committed, none of us would make it, right? So when we're in relationships, um, it's it's about give and take and maturity and the willingness to know um, that you have to know yourself. You have to know that holding on to things, it's not doing anything for you, right? You're holding on to hurt, pain, all these things, these residuals for what? And everybody else is moving on. So all these receipts you're keeping and you're just dwelling on all this stuff, and time is passing, and nobody's in that space but you. So why stay there, right? Um, so I just feel like we should do more acknowledging ourselves, maybe is what I'm trying to say. Um, Take a look back at ourselves and not be so judgeful. It's easy to see everybody else's wrongs and not your own. That's how I feel. Because you can't hold somebody hostage for eternity. You just can't. I mean, what good is that going to do? You just going to hold on to somebody's wrongs, and then what? What are you going to do? Because when they're gone, you're going to still feel like they're wrong. What you going to do? You're going to still be holding on to something, and that person is no longer here. And all that was for what? For nothing. You can choose to resolve it, remove yourself, forgive, or not forgive. It's truly, it's just a decision. It's growth on all people involved. So it's your choice. It's your choice. So I thought I would just share that. But I felt like, yeah, you can be held hostage and keep yourself in captivity for no reason, and that's no way to live. Um, and for what? And for what? Because nobody is living their life keeping tally. I mean, if you're doing that, you have way too much time on your hands. Way too much time on your hands, right? Um, so that's just, I feel like, a part of alternative thinking too. Um, Maneuvering, just thinking higher of yourself, higher of the situation. Um, Everybody plays a part in every scenario, every relationship. So, what is your part? What have you done? You know, are you changing your behavior? Um, what are you doing? So it's just not, everything has two sides. I always say there's two sides of a coin. Always. Um, so just be mindful of not trying to hold people hostage. Um, just choose to either forgive and move on, or release them, because it's just not worth it in the end, because life is too short. Days are moving by. It's like the end of the month already. It's June, almost in July. um And time, just doesn't stop for anybody. You're really here today and gone tomorrow. Nobody knows when their time is up, and you wouldn't want to um, be holding on to something, and once someone's gone, be resentful that you held on to something. You know, and I feel a lot of people do that, hold on to things, and um, I used to do that, to be honest, but I don't. But instead of that, I just kind of, for me, I typically remove myself. And when it has to get to me removing myself, um, it's just not serving me anymore. If a relationship, friendship, anything, if it takes too much mental power, capacity for me to function around the space, it's not for me. I have a very sensitive spirit, very sensitive. So um, I just encourage you to um, forgive and move on and let go and really just let God, really, you know. Yeah. I just want to keep it short and sweet this weekend because I am tired. I almost didn't make it. I was actually gonna get in the bed, but my son asked me, was I gonna do this today? My sister asked me, was I gonna do this today? My aunt asked me if I was gonna do this today. And then my daughter came in here playing with the ring light and was like, "Oh, are you gonna record your show? I'm proud of you." So I was like, "The sign, I guess I gotta get up and I need to do this." So here I am, but I will be back next week, more energy because I'm dance free. So I hope everyone has a magnificent week. Um, I hope that um, you can just continue to grow, be inspired, and love hard.